Imagine running your personal bank account the exact same way we currently run the planet. It'd be a disaster, right? Because right now, humanity is operating at a massive, completely unsustainable deficit. We're literally using up nature 73% faster than our ecosystems can actually regenerate. To put that into perspective, that's the equivalent of burning through 1.73 Earths every single year. The math just doesn't add up.
Welcome to this explainer on the Earth Rules Framework. Today, we're setting the stage for a massive paradigm shift. You see, for decades, we've kind of treated nature like a philanthropic cause, Just a nice charity we might donate to when corporate profits happen to be high. Well, that ends today. We really need to start recognizing nature for what it truly is, and that's the core productive infrastructure of our entire global economy. Section 1. The two economies, human versus Earth. So, this brings us to the fundamental conflict at the very heart of our planetary crisis. We are essentially running two completely different competing economies on a single planet. On one side of the ledger, we've got our human economy. Now, it's basically an infant system, right? It's only a few centuries old, and it operates on a really rigid, linear take, make, waste model. But then, on the other side, is Earth's economy. And Earth's economy is circular, it's regenerative, and it has functioned successfully for eons with a totally flawless business model, generating absolutely zero waste. In Earth's economy, literally everything is food or fuel for something else. And this is exactly where the two systems violently clash. Our human economy explicitly disrupts Earth's natural cycles. We're extracting resources way faster than they can replenish, pumping carbon into the atmosphere, and totally depleting our essential soils. This linear model is basically driving ecosystem collapse, which, ironically, undermines the very foundation of our own long-term prosperity. We're essentially fighting the very system that keeps us alive.
Section 2. Nature's Carbon Vaults.
Let's transition from that huge macro problem to a very specific, critical mechanism within Earth's economy, namely how nature actually manages to lock away carbon. Let's talk about peatlands. Peatlands are essentially nature's biological bank vaults. They store enormous, massive stocks of carbon below ground in these deep organic soils. And if they're left alone, that carbon persists not just for a few decades, but for millions of years, regulating both our water and carbon cycles simultaneously. It's an incredible system. But here is the jarring scientific reality we have to face. Global peatland stores are so incredibly massive that the emissions from drained peatlands completely negate the benefits of all our current nature-based solutions. I mean, just think about the gravity of that for a second. Draining these landscapes releases up to 2.5 billion tons of CO2 annually. That single action literally wipes out the benefits of every single global tree planting effort to date. Wow.
Section 3. The Connected Economy.
Okay, so how on earth do we fix this? Well, the answer is that to fix our carbon problem, we absolutely cannot look at carbon in a vacuum anymore. We have to embrace systems thinking. It might sound a bit complex, but the main takeaway is actually pretty profound. Carbon, water, nutrients, energy, these cycles all feed into and reinforce one another. Carbon depends on water. Nutrient cycles depend on biodiversity. You just can't isolate one piece of the puzzle and expect to fix the whole shebang, right? Healthy systems are, by definition, deeply connected systems.
Section 4. Multicolor Realities.
Acknowledging this massive, interconnected Earth system forces a total evolution in how we approach environmental policy moving forward. For way too long, we've been stuck in what you might call blue and green carbon myopia, just focusing super narrowly on single metrics like net zero emissions. We have to abandon that fragmented thinking for good. Instead, we need to build resilient multicolor economies. And what that means is valuing the entire system, the teal wetlands, the blue coastal mangroves, the brown peatlands, all of it working together as one cohesive unit to create thriving, resilient societies.
Section 5. The Cost of Collapse.
All right, let's pivot sharply from ecological theory to some hard, cold financial reality. It is time to examine the exact economic stakes of ignoring these Earth rules. Data from a recent Nature, Ecology, and Evolution study makes one thing crystal clear. Biodiversity loss directly threatens national creditworthiness. Look at countries like Vietnam, Madagascar, Bangladesh, and Angola. They are facing projected GDP losses of more than 15% by 2030 under a partial ecosystem collapse. Why? Because in a place like Vietnam, for example, healthy deltas and mangroves aren't just pretty scenery. They are absolutely critical economic infrastructure that physically protects their ports and their entire blue economy.
And here is the crucial takeaway.
And it's a staggering figure, $162 billion. That is the potential cost to global governments annually in additional debt interest payments alone. If ecosystems collapse, credit ratings plummet, borrowing costs spike, and global financial markets end up footing the bill for systematically underpricing nature, it's a huge financial risk.
Section 6. The next trillion-dollar asset. Fortunately, there is a massive investment opportunity right in front of us, and that's aligning our capital with natural infrastructure. Nature is arguably the world's largest undervalued asset class. It is inherently pro-growth, pro-productivity, and pro-resilience. Consider a real-world contrast. Imagine a hypothetical Port A that only invests in gray infrastructure like concrete seawalls. It faces high flood risks and constant, expensive maintenance. Now imagine Port B, which invests in nature alongside that gray infrastructure, utilizing mangroves and wetlands. The result? Lower risk, natural protection that works round the clock, and significantly higher long-term returns. It's a no-brainer.
To actually capitalize on this, forward-thinking investors are starting to use what's called the Earth Rules Test. It features 8 core tests to ensure investments are actually pro-resilience, alongside 3 absolute non-negotiable veto tests. One of those strict vetoes? You absolutely must protect irrecoverable carbon. Protecting these ecosystems is not charity. Passing the Earth Rules Test is fundamentally about preserving asset value, ensuring strong, predictable cash flows, and, at the end of the day, making smart capital allocations.
Which brings us to the core message here. Nature's true strength lies entirely in its connectivity. From the watersheds connecting the highest mountains to the deep oceans, to the peatlands connecting our climate and hydrology. Human prosperity depends completely on reconnecting these gears, on actively restoring Earth's connected economy. Connectivity isn't just a nice buzzword, it is quite literally nature's operating system. So, I'll leave you with this final, somewhat provocative thought. There is only one Earth. It is the ultimate monopoly. So as investors, policymakers, and just everyday citizens, can we really afford to keep shorting our own life support system? I highly encourage you to rethink what true economic growth actually looks like. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and I'll catch you on the next one.